Hello, my name is Mark Leisner. I'm so blessed to be the pastor here at First United Methodist Church of Rhinelander, Wisconsin. And I'm going to begin a weekly series of thoughts. Nothing really long, but I want to share with you as something that we can take with us as we go through our midweek, in which we can examine our faith, our relationship with God, and our relationship with one another. And today I want to talk about the importance of community. We are all called to be connected with one another. And in many ways, that's how God intended for us to interact. Especially now as we come through to the other side past this pandemic, we are slowly making our way to become community again. I love this passage from the letters of John, for 3 John, chapter 4, verses beginning at verse 7, going to 9. It says, "Dear friends, let us love one another, for love comes from God. Everyone who loves and been born of God knows God, and whoever does not love does not know God. Because God is love. And this is how God showed his love among us, that he sent his only Son into the world that we might live through him." So we learn the importance of God's nature. And that nature is the agape love. The Greek word agape means all-inclusive. There are no strings attached to that love. And God seeks only to bring us together as community, to bring us into a relationship with him in ways that's going to help us to grow and to mature spiritually as well as emotionally. And I think what's also essential in our acts of community, of reaching out to be reconnected again with one another, is our idea of being a servant leader. And God calls all of God's people into service with one another. We are called to, as community, to embrace the hurts, the brokenness, the those who have been left on the wayside of society, those who have been forgotten. We are to be the voice of the voiceless and a friend to the friendless. Now, this to me is an essential part about being in community. It's not always about us, but it's about us coming together and sharing the talents or the gifts, the graces, however you like to define it. But it's an opportunity for us to come together, to laugh together, to weep together, to bear each other's burdens. So I want to invite you, if you haven't done so yet, is to think about how you're living in community. And what do you need to do on your part to get you reconnected to that community? I know one of the struggles we have, not only here at First United Methodist Church of Rhinelander, but throughout faith communities, is people coming back. And there are many different reasons why people are not coming back to church or to temple or to prayers. I think sometimes we're still afraid. We're still afraid of the COVID virus. We're afraid of what it means to be reconnected. And sometimes we have just lost the habit of being with one another. And so I want to encourage you to live out your faith in community, to live out your faith with one another. And sometimes taking that step in faith can be hard. But it makes all the difference in the world, because one of the things and important lessons I have learned in life is the essential part of community and how it interacts with us to help us feel at home. So if you have been part of a faith community in the past, I invite you to get reconnected. If you've never been a part of a church or any religious group, take some time to get connected. If you're struggling with your own faith and your own relationship with God, that's cool. We need to be honest with ourselves, and I believe honest with God, because God wants nothing more than to share in our lives. But I want you to reflect, and I invite you to reflect where God's leading you as you embrace community. Whether it's through a faith community, through a church, synagogue, mosque, or if it's an outside organization. Take that step. Take that step to be in community, because when you do that, not only do you change the lives of others, but you change your own life. You're going to discover that you're no longer going to be isolated. That again, you have a group of people, a group of friends, though as imperfect as they are and as imperfect as we are, we come together, as the theologian Henry Nouwen said, we come to be wounded healers. And in terms of how I define the church, that's what the church is about. It's very easy to look at being part of the church, and some of us have grown up in the church, and we have seen the hypocrisy. I agree, I get it. But there is also something more important about the church, or about a faith community, is that you're sharing in that journey together. It helps us to look at one another through the eyes of God, through the eyes of compassion, mercy. It teaches us that we're never alone, and that there is a power greater than our own selves, a power greater than our own ego, that can restore us to wholeness again. So please take some time and reflect. And maybe take that step of faith of getting reconnected with your church or with your place of faith, and become involved. And you don't have to, again, jump in and feel and believe that, oh my gosh, you got to be a chairperson of a committee or run a soup kitchen. But what it does mean is that you reach out beyond yourself, and you seek to be the eyes, hands, and feet of God in our world. And in doing so, you recognize that you can do more together than you can ever do alone. So God's richest blessings to you. And I hope that this short message has touched you in a special way. Remember too, as the Apostle John said, as he defined God, he said that God is love. God is not an old man sitting up in the clouds with a beard and a staff, but he is love. God seeks only for all of us to rest in that love and to share that redemptive love with those around us. Again, God's richest blessings to you, and shalom.